Okay, here's the second half of the baseball card pack. We start with a Rick Sutcliffe, 82 tops. Rick Sutcliffe, of course, Rookie of the Year for the Dodgers, had a decent career. And he's now an announcer for the MLB Network, or is it ESPN? I think it's ESPN. Joe Strain, don't know much about him. 82 Mets, Bob Baylor. Now, the 82 Mets was the first team that I followed, so this team has a special place in my heart, but he played shortstop. He was actually a utility infielder for them. Don't have any specific memories about Bob Baylor, but I do remember him as a Met in 82. This is a Bobby Grich sport flick. I don't know if you can see that or not, but if you, depending on the angle, it changes the picture. These are popular in the mid-80s. I had a few of those, but yeah, I guess it didn't catch on. And by the time the 80s were over, sport flicks were gone too. Another Pedro Guerrero, Los Angeles Dodgers card. Johnny Franco as a Red. He was traded to the Reds, traded from the Reds to the Mets for Randy Myers after the 1989 season, I think, and had a long career at the Mets. He was in the Mets Hall of Fame too, but he started his career with the Reds. Scott Livingston, don't know much about him. Rick Aguilera, and he was a 86 Met. Famously gave up the home run to Dave Henderson in the top of the 10th inning, and of course the Mets came back in Game 6. But he was a winning pitcher in Game 6. But he did give up the lead, or he gave up he let the Red Sox get ahead. But Rick Aguilera was traded along with a bunch of other players for Frank Viola in '89. Dave Bergman, don't know much about him. We got Cardinal Future Stars, Tito Landrum. Let's see, Tito Landrum, Al Olmsted, Andy Rincon. None of those amounted to much. Ron Gant of the Braves. Zane Smith, Pittsburgh Pirates. Here's a Hall of Famer, Ricky Henderson. You can go on and tell stories about Ricky Henderson all day and night. Yeah, he played for both the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees during his prime, the Mets as his career was winding down. But he is a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, with good reason. This is Operation Desert Storm card. It speaks for itself. Omar Olivares. Jason Grimsley, who I also believe pitched a no-hitter. Don't know, can't remember the year, but Grimsley seems to stand out in my mind. He may have also been involved in the steroid scandal, but I may be confusing with another person, so I don't know. So I don't want to be sued for libel. Joe Grahey. Scott Brocious, Yankee fans may remember him. And they might also remember Alvaro Espinosa too. Probably not as well as Scott Brocious, but Moose Haas, great name. Don't know much about him though. Ozzie Guillen, who managed the White Sox, and actually they won the World Series championship in 2005, and he went on to the Florida Marlins and got fired after one season. 87 record breakers. We've got Phil Niekro and his late brother Joe Niekro. Niekro surpassed the Perrys to set win record for brothers. Both knuckleball pitchers. Ruben Sierra, who was decent in the late 80s, mid 90s. Rafael Palmeiro, whose numbers would indicate he'd be in the Hall of Fame, but he had a positive test for, what was it, HGH, but so his candidacy is doubtful. Tony Clark, who is now, I believe he's the union representative for the Major League players, was a Yankee and a Met. Gene Garber. I remember him as a Brave. Yeah, he pitched a long time for the Braves from 78 to 87. Dave Nielsen. Don't know much about him. We've got, we've got two Gary Pettis cards. Yeah, they put two in there. Rob Mauer. Don't know much about him. Otis Nixon. Rusty Meacham. Don't know. Vincente Palacios, which is a rated rookie, but he never amounted to much. This is from 1988, so never heard of him. Pittsburgh Pirate, by the way. We've got a Mike Morgan. Bob Welch, who had a decent career. John Smiley, I remember him as a Pittsburgh Pirate, but he's a Red here. 62 Met, Roger Craig. Felix Jose. Lonnie Skates Smith with the Braves. Another Dave Gallagher. Another Gary Varsho. Frank DePino. Mike Scott, who was actually, started out as a Met, but as any Met fan would know, in 1986, Mike Scott was lights out, and he was accused of scuffing the baseball. And that was a big topic of discussion in the 86 NLCS. Mets couldn't beat Scott. In fact, if the Mets had lost Game 6, Mike Scott would have started Game 7. And conventional wisdom at the time was that no one's going to beat Mike Scott. So if they didn't win Game 6, Mike Scott was going to win Game 7. And it's more than likely that they're playing in the Astrodome that Mike Scott was going to beat them. So, yeah, this is 1986. He was pretty great. Carmelo Castillo, don't remember him. Another one, David Cohn, who after 1986 the Mets traded Ed Hearn and I think Rick Anderson to the Royals, and Dave Cohn came over and had a pretty, 87 was not, I think he was injured for a little bit, but 88 he won 20 games. And he turned out to have a very, very good career. And they actually traded him in 92 for Jeff Kent and Jose Vizcaíno. Jeff Kent is going to be a Hall of Famer. So, David Cohn was a Met, and he was a good one. Mike Schooler. Jose Gonzalez. Kevin Elster, another 86 Met. Now, he was actually Rafael Santana was the Mets shortstop in 1986, and he was not a very good shortstop, but the rest of the team was stacked. So they carried him on the team, but they brought him in, and he actually played in the 86 playoffs and World Series. Yeah, he was okay. Nothing spectacular. Chili Davis, who I remember him as a Giant, and later on in his career he went to the Yankees. But I always remember him as a Giant, not as an Angel as he is here. Here's a good one. This is David Wells. Yeah, this is his first few years with the Jays. This is before he came to the Yankees, and the Yankees, he just lit the town on fire. I don't think he was with 96. I think he came on 97. Yeah, 97. Traded for him. And of course in 1998 he had that. The Yankees had a great year, and they won so many games, and they won the World Series, swept the Padres. And Wells pitched a perfect game. Again, my memories, I can't remember. It may have been 99. But yeah, he was very outspoken in his career too. So yeah, it's David Wells, very early in his career with the Toronto Blue Jays. Dan Schatzeder. I remember him as an Expo, not as an Astro. The final one is Matt Williams, who was recently named as the manager of the Washington Nationals, replacing Davey Johnson, who, of course, managed the '86 Mets. But Davey Johnson retired. Matt Williams had a decent career. He did. Third baseman for the Giants. This is 1990 score. But yeah, he had a decent career, and he was coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks before being named for the Washington Nationals. So I'm going to see a lot of him this year as a Met fan. So that's it. That's the pack. 100 cards. A couple of decent cards. $5. Yeah. Easy come, easy go. See you later.